Hello. The title of this podcast or the topic is Your Daily Life is Your Practice. And I'm often acknowledged for like having, the practice really nailed down. And and that's only because I have used everything in my life that quote unquote goes wrong as an opportunity to practice, to do the practice. And so with that, I get a lot of opportunities and reps to apply what the purpose of the practice is, which is helping me, be conscious, cultivate inner peace within, so that I can be compassionate, loving, and kind, and really just live a life that's full of contribution and love and experiencing joy. So that's what the practice helps me do, no matter how life shows up. But I was introduced to principles or aspects of the practice really at an early age. And part of that was just through examples of an aunt who used to babysit myself, me and my brother. And this aunt was truly amazing. She got at 18 years old, she was in a car accident in which she was walking across the street and she got hit by a truck. And this was back in I want to say, God, this had to be back in like the 40s that this happened, late 40s, early 50s. And so, she was, obviously I'm African American. So well, I guess that's not obvious that she might be African American, but she is too. And so there were a lot of, there was health disparities and health inequities at that point. So she didn't get the kind of care that would have really, even back then, would have been helpful. So she had a limp the whole time, and she would often, experience a lot of pain in the mornings and in the evenings. Never complained once about it, and she never said anything negative about people either. So I had these examples around me of people that no matter how life showed up, they were always peaceful and loving and kind. And my mom, in a slightly different way, never was always the same too. Really strong work ethic, was never negative and never complained either. So I had that, and then I had the quote unquote, formal teaching, that I grew up with people, in our church, of showing the way and the path forward. And so I had all these examples, but they were relegated to me being in church. It wasn't me seeing everything that went quote unquote wrong with, hey, this is where you practice this. When somebody says something bad to you or says something wrong to you or uses a racial slur, that's where you practice being open and loving and kind and not confusing people's behavior with who they are inside, with who they are at their core, with their humanity. You don't do that. Like, it was never told me in that way to apply it that way. And even if it was, I didn't understand the importance of practicing every day would make it easier. Now, if you take it away from me working on my inner self, oh, I could get it. Like, hey, Keith, if you do a lot of practice at dribbling the basketball to free yourself up, to make a layup or get your shot off, you got to practice that. But if you do, you'll get that. Or if you want to be a really good speaker, listen to other good speakers, do a lot of practice reps and get on the debate team. And any opportunity to recite poetry in a public environment to get over fear of public speaking. And that stamper, that stutter that you have, there's a speech therapist that can help you with that. Like, I got all of that, like how to practice those reps all the time. I got it. And then even when I started to learn about positive thinking, I got about how to apply that, to challenges in the service of me getting what I want or me reaching a goal and achievement. Like, hey, listen, to be able to achieve this goal is going to require you to work hard and to study in this way. And you got to adapt these kind of habits. I got it with that. But I didn't get anything with regard to cultivating inner peace. I got it in the service of achieving more, in terms of academic and career aspirations. But what about the other thing that really makes life worth living? What about that? I didn't get that, of how to show up as a good human being. I didn't get that kind of instruction. And I know about, yoga and doing that. But for me, the yoga was that at least the yoga that I experienced, it could be very different in other places. The yoga was You go to a studio or you do a session and you learn these poses. And even in those poses, I would be, given these positive affirmations about how to see the world and how to be open and all those things in my chakras. And I appreciated all that. But hey, here how it applies. You're going to go out into the world, and here's what's going to happen. Something's going to happen with the loved one, or something's going to happen with your job situation or with your relationship, and you practice it there too. Like you take that there. And so, and everything that goes wrong or that's not to your liking in your daily life, that is your practice. It's not that, hey, no, this is different. You don't have time for it here. No, that's exactly where to apply it. And so when I'm acknowledged or given credit for like being where I am as Key 2.0, and I've said this before, I could get knocked off 2.0 and revert back to 1.0 like that if I don't treat every situation as part of the practice. Like there are no exceptions. Everything that happens, everything that goes wrong, everything that in my mind tells me that should be different or is wrong, everything somebody else does that is not to my liking, that's the practice. And so just like all the other things, are getting better at writing a paper, getting better at solving physics and math problems, took a lot of practice to live a peaceful life, to show up as a contribution, no matter whether people agree with you or disagree with you. That takes practice. And every time I am around someone who thinks differently than I do, I'm not asking them to change a thing. It's my practice to keep an open heart. Now, I'm not saying that I need to be around them all the time if they're doing behavior that is hurtful and harmful. No, I don't have to do that. There's consequences for that behavior that is above my pay grade and how that gets taken care of. And I can certainly go and vote if it's something that has to do with politics. So I don't have to be around it. But what I can do that is an application of the practice is not confusing what they say or how they behave with who they are, with their humanity. That's my practice, to always keep an open heart to their humanity. That's my practice. So if you want to get to a place that no matter what's going on, pandemic or no pandemic, work situation being fully staffed or understaffed, your significant other making you feel valued and loved and heard, or being in their own head in their own world, whatever the situation is an opportunity for the practice. And because however other people show up, that's their path. Your path is, well, what is your path? My path is to be peaceful, loving, and kind all the time. Now, I know that's a high bar, but that's why it's called practice. Is I may never get there, but I will experience life in a completely different way by practicing to get there. And so I encourage you to consider that your daily life is the practice. It's not just the 10-minute practice that we do in the morning, but it's throughout the day. Every interaction, every negative thought, every narrative is an opportunity for the practice. So I know you got 2.0 in you. Maybe some of you are right there right now and you're maintaining it. And I think the key is, or consider that the key is to make your daily life the practice.